Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca Gyllenhaal and I'm an editor at Quirk Books. I'm here to talk about Cursed Objects by J.W. Ocker, which is being published on September 15th. Cursed Objects is a nonfiction compendium that tells the stories of nearly 50 real-life cursed objects, from the Hope Diamond and Robert the Doll, which you've probably heard of, to the Baleroy Chair of Death, which you probably haven't. Many of these unfortunate items have intersected with some of the most notable events and people in history, leaving death and destruction in their wake. But never before have the true stories of these eerie oddities been compiled into a fascinating volume. These strange but true stories of the world's most infamous items will appeal to true believers, as well as history buffs, horror fans, and anyone who loves a good spine-tingling tale. But before I continue, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how this book came to be. It was one of those magical moments where two people who are on the same wavelength find each other at the perfect time. I've been interested in doing a book on cursed objects for a while, both because I'm a huge horror fan, and because, for whatever reason, the Quirk office is absolutely packed with cursed objects. I don't know how it started, but it became this running joke, with colleagues hiding creepy dolls in cupboards, spooky photographs in people's desks, and some of our authors even sent us cursed objects in the mail. So at the same time as I was looking for an author to write about cursed objects, JW, or Jason's agent, got in touch with my boss, who took a look at Jason's blog and sent the link to me. For those of you who are already fans of Jason, you know about his blog and podcast, Oddities, or Odd Things I've Seen, which chronicles his travels around the country, visiting strange and macabre sites of all kinds, including cemeteries, museums, historical landmarks, and cursed objects, many of which he has personally seen and handled. I immediately knew that Jason was a perfect author for the project. I reached out to him, and it turned out that he'd been contemplating writing about cursed objects too. So we immediately clicked, and the book developed very quickly from there. But one thing that we had to work out before anything else was the criteria a cursed object had to meet before being included in the book. I knew that whether or not the reader believes in curses, the objects themselves had to be real, although there are some really fun sidebars in the book about famous fictional cursed objects. Next, we had to determine whether or not the object's history was compelling enough to fill a whole chapter. After applying these criteria, Jason did a truly heroic amount of research, and we settled on a list of nearly 50 objects, some of which have never been written about before outside of obscure academic articles. No one has ever studied cursed objects in this much depth that I'm aware of, and I'm really proud of what Jason has achieved. Whether you believe in curses or not, it's undeniable that cursed objects have this incredible hold over our cultural consciousness. They've been featured in countless horror movies, reality TV shows, novels, and campfire tales. And there are several examples of real-life cursed objects that have made it to Hollywood, including Annabelle the doll, a Raggedy Ann doll that featured in the horror franchise The Conjuring, the D-Book box, which was sold on eBay and inspired the horror film The Possession, and the Ring of Sylvianus, a Roman artifact that is believed to have inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. Before I wrap up, I should mention what's contained in the book besides the stories of these cursed objects. The book is illustrated by John McNair, who has this amazing spooky sensibility and brings a whole other layer to the project. There are also sidebars throughout, covering such topics as how to curse an object, the science of cursed objects, cursed jewels, book curses, voodoo, lucky objects, and more. There's a section all about cursed object collections, many of which Jason has visited personally, including the Warren Collection, the John Zaffis Museum, Zach Bagans' The Haunted Museum, and the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and Occult. There's even a section on creepy objects that seem like they would be cursed, but aren't, like the miniature coffins of Arthur's Seat, the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, the mummified head of the Dusseldorf vampire, and a book made of human skin. Another fun thing is that many of these objects are on public display in museums around the world, and we've listed their locations in case you guys are brave enough to visit any of them yourselves. I'm so excited about this book, and I hope you guys will be too. Don't forget, it's on sale on September 15th, and thanks for listening.